We're here in the beautiful Amsterdam at the Dutch Blockchain Week, and we have a big conference here at the ABN AMRO headquarters, the Blockchain Innovation Conference, and we meet Frans Kempen. He's the supply chain lead of the blockchain team of IBM. How are you doing, Frans?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really a great event to be here, and really interesting speakers, a lot of new information, sharing with each other. So really looking forward.
Right. Yeah. One of the central questions is, of course, what is the advantage of using blockchain technology?
Well, blockchain is basically a catalyst for digital transformation for many companies. It creates a new vast array of new services, opportunities, and reducing costs. So it's a kind of decentralized transaction system it enables for many companies. But let's say the internet did for communication in the 90s, blockchain will do for transactions in the current stage. So many new opportunities occur, like for instance tokenization of assets. So businesses are looking forward to embrace this new technology and benefiting then in the cost and in the transaction speed.
All right. Yeah, IBM, of course, it's really a technology giant. Also, of course, in the US, worldwide, was an important force in the internet industry as well. What's their role in this decentralized economy?
Yeah, already 6 years ago, IBM embraced the blockchain technology. We're looking forward to implement new technologies for our clients and to give them benefit out of this new technology. So at the moment we are running hundreds of blockchain POCs and MVPs and like 20 in production. I can mention a few examples of IBM blockchain platforms which we have in production. And if you take a step back, then you look at 3 domains basically where blockchain is really active. One is the finance domain. The second one is the trading, the supply chain domain. And the third one is a domain on the individual, on the person. So let me give you an example on the finance domain. Like WeTrade. WeTrade is a European blockchain platform for 15 banks where small medium businesses can transact easily together and do business together where they did not see each other before. So the friction in the trade finance domain is removed by this blockchain-based platform. It's live, it's in production last year. We are last year at Rabobank and now here at ABN AMRO Bank. And many banks are embracing this new blockchain platform for trade finance. Another
so the central word in this is trust. So blockchain creates a trustless system.
Exactly. Trust has a cost. If you do not trust an entity or a company or a transaction, you create entities like banks or entities like notaries, etc. But that has a cost. So trust has a cost. If you can remove the trust factor and put it on the blockchain, on the technology, then the technology will enable trust. So it's also called by the economists, let's say the blockchain is the trust machine. That's really a good mentioning of description of blockchain.
So let's move further. I mean, you mentioned WeTrade, you mentioned Tradelands. Perhaps you can. It has just launched for cargo shipping.
Yeah. So the 3 domains I mentioned about blockchain use cases, which we are now having as IBM in production. One is the finance domain with WeTrade, trade finance, like the global payment system we have launched. But also the supply chain is a key domain for IBM of investing in blockchain technology, like Tradelands. Tradelands went live already 2 years ago. It was founded by Maersk, and recently we changed the monetization model of incentivizing new container shippers in going onto the Tradelands platform. Last week we announced that 2 big competitors of Maersk also joined this platform. So now this platform has the container shipping global of 60% of the world market captured. And why? What's the benefit of this platform? The benefit is that the cost of container shipping, the non-transportation cost, is almost as high as the transportation cost of container shipping. So paperwork, human errors, all entities in the supply chain in between. So if you can cut out a lot of these costs, then you lower the cost of container shipping, have much more visibility and transparency among the entire supply chain of moving a container, for instance, from China to Holland. So that's the benefit where many companies and suppliers will benefit from.
And such a new system, is it actually used because it gets value because of its use?
Well, it is used at the moment. We are in production already for 1 year. Now it increases its leverage, its network effect because of the new 2 container shippers who are joined the platform. More than 60% of the world container shipping is now on this platform. It's in production. But of course it needs to grow, right, in the next few years. Many customs, many transportation companies will join this platform and take the benefit out of it.
And what's actually the benefit? What can they save? Are there any numbers already?
Well, it's still in an early phase to concretely measure, let's say, the cost benefit. We're doing the measurements as we speak. And of course this information is partly also confidential. It's part of the learning curve of many companies. But in general terms, you can say that half of the cost is non-transportation cost. And let's say you can save half of that. That's a huge amount looking at the world shipping global economy.
So you're talking about 25% perhaps?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the number. But of course you need to have a longer period where you can test the entire chain and doing a good measurement before you publish those numbers.
Just one step back, because you mentioned the world wire payment system. Can you mention actually the parties that are involved in this joint venture actually?
Yeah, we have a few worldwide banks on this platform. We launched that two months ago. My colleague Thomas Hartman will present the case. I do not know, to be honest, the banks by heart who are on this platform. I think 6 or 7 banks. So much is happening in the blockchain world. But indeed, it creates the advantage of instant payment. Instant settlement of a transaction. So whereas if you do an international payment in the current system, you're surprised that the payment will arrive, right? Because of the complexity of the current system. In this new system of WorldWire, based on the Stellar protocol, which IBM has launched, WorldWire, it's instant settlement. So you pay your family in another country and it arrives immediately. And also for fractional small amounts. So the cost of transaction is also very, very limited.
Yeah, actually, I know that IBM is actually hiring Stellar developers, correct?
Exactly. Yes, we are having a good partnership with Stellar. It's providing, let's say, the consensus protocol. It's a part of our platform, and indeed we're working together with Jeb McCaleb, for instance, very close.
Another central question is, of course, why the blockchain and why not use a central database? I mean, okay, we mentioned the factor of trust and costs, but are there some other advantages?
Well, trust is still the key factor. So if you have a decentralized database, you can do many things already currently with existing proving technology. So why would you do anything else than a distributed database? Disadvantage is that with a distributed database, you need to trust one company for the data, or you need to trust an intermediary. There's always one company or a selection of companies who combines all the data to do a transaction, right? So why would you have one company if you have an alternative of spreading those data amongst all participants? All participants have visibility of the same data, they can verify the same data, and they can approve the transaction all together. So the consensus is built into the system. So that's another way of thinking to the trust factor. And trust indeed has a cost. The middleman, the intermediary, or the single entity who owns all the data, that has a cost as well, right? Not to speak about the breaches of confidentiality, of data breaches, of hacks, etc. And then all your data is gone. When that data is spread over all participants, your security level increases hugely, right? So moving from decentralized database into a blockchain database, it's not one solution serves all, right? On the blockchain platform, you also have the difference between a permissioned and an open blockchain platform.
Yeah, we mentioned before, I mean...
Exactly. And that's a difficult choice for many companies.
And why? What's the reason behind actually not using the open systems?
Well, the open systems has a clear advantage. There's a huge development community building and improving the open permissionless platforms like Ethereum, like Bitcoin, all those platforms. And they're good, especially Ethereum. There's a huge development community behind it. And it's open source as well, so that's a very big benefit. Disadvantage is that you do not trust anybody on this platform. So the consensus protocol must be so strict that the approval process takes a lot of time to make consensus out of a transaction, because you do not know any counterparty in this open permissionless platform. So the consensus protocol is very, very strict, and that's why the number of transactions per second is around 10 per second. that's not feasible in a finance environment or a trade environment or a supply chain environment. That's why we, as IBM, support the Hyperledger Foundation. It's a Linux open source foundation. It's a permissioned blockchain. Anybody can join this platform, but we need to know the company. It's a legal entity. So if anything goes wrong, we can sue the counterparty on the platform. The advantage is that your trust level of the counterparty in a permissioned blockchain is higher. So your consensus protocol can be a little bit lower than when you do not trust anybody. So the trust level on a permissioned platform is higher, so that the consensus protocol can be less strict, and so that the number of transactions per second can be hugely increased, like 4, 5, 6,000 transactions per second, which is minimal for a business environment. So this is an environment which is embraced by the business community. The business do not want to run risk. They have employees, right? 10,000 employees having their bread and butter on the stake. So why use a technology can be harmful for any company's existence. So that's why we support the Hyperledger platform, which is also open source, by the way. Any developer can build on it.
Just a last question. How disruptive is this technology also for technology partners like IBM? Is it like an internal discussion? How disruptive can this be?
IBM exists more than 100 years. There are many disruptive technologies have existed in the past 100 years, right? So from the mainframe to the client server, now to the mobile, to the cloud, and also to the blockchain, to AI, etc. And I think IBM's asset is that we can adapt to new technologies. We look far into the future. We see what kind of technology will emerge and will be adopted by the business clients of IBM, and we embrace that technology. We try to be best of the pack in that technology and bring that technology to our clients and bring them then the benefits of it. So IBM looked forward already 5, 6 years ago about blockchain. We invested heavily in it. I think we have one of the biggest communities of blockchain use case in the world, also on production level. We support Hyperledger, but the same goes for mobile, or the same goes for AI, or for cloud. So this is a transformation internal within IBM, which we are very confident with that we can manage.
All right. So thank you very much. We always conclude with a personal question. What are your favorite cryptocurrencies, or do you own cryptocurrencies?
As IBM, we do not. We have no stance in cryptocurrencies, okay. And of course that's a totally different topic. Yeah. I like to focus on, let's say, the business benefits of blockchain for our customers, okay. And sometimes we also discuss tokens. Let's say the tokenization of assets, and we are embracing tokens within Hyperledger as well. So Hyperledger new version will have a wallet where you can store tokens. So token can also enable a business process. And this is a new phase of development which we're entering 2020, 2021.
Right. And IBM with its own stablecoin, is that an option?
I'm not sure if IBM will embrace, will submit a stablecoin. Of course, we are supporting banks, central banks and other banks, in thinking about stablecoins. A stablecoin can be a very good asset in stabilizing the exchange value of a token compared to a fiat currency. So we are discussing a lot about stablecoins with our clients. Not sure if IBM will submit a stablecoin.
Now, thank you very much, Frans, for your insights, and yeah, all the best this beautiful day.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.